I really love these monthly things. It is so much fun to be here with you, the Fresh Inspiration Show. I tell you, in our group, hashtag inspirers, hashtag arrivers, you coming in and really getting into this mindset transformation, entertainment, that it feels like this is what we need. We need that good juice. Stuff that allows the space to clear and breathe in new air and get into that vibe. Get into that vibe of that we got this. Because sometimes we got this doesn't look so good because we're trying to get there and we may accidentally fake it till we make it, and it hurts. It hurts when we try and be something. And I was talking about that earlier about letting things go, but what does that feel like? Because I didn't realize that I was doing stuff that I thought that I was being, authentic. But when I got to know myself more, I go, oh, I was trying to control stuff. So I believe maybe in some ways I'm still trying to control stuff, but it's less or whatever. It's going to keep coming up as we learn to release more and more. And I feel like I'll be learning that till I pass on from being here on Earth. And um, so I think it's a learning thing because the healing starts coming even deeper and deeper the more we get to learn about ourselves and how we want to show up. It's great questions to ask ourselves because that really is what opens up into how you can open up that new path. When you see that path and you see the beautiful trees and whatever's on the ground and the scents all around you, it starts opening up to the beauty of what you want in life. And it takes away the judgment of you're like, oh, I don't know everything, and it's like you darn right you don't, and I don't either. Like who knows everything? Please come in a circle, share with everything you know, because I just want it all. And then you're gonna realize that might be Google, and we still don't know it all. No way. So
So
now
true.
that we're all
So true.
here learning, huh, Kimmy?
Yes. I love what you're saying here because you're just setting the stage for what I'm going to talk about today, which is so
Mm-hmm.
fun. But I
Mm-hmm.
love that. It takes the pressure off. If we can just trust the process, I think that's what it's about.
It
Just
really
trust the
is, huh?
process. You have to believe that you are exactly where you're supposed to be, doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, and that everything that happens to you is really happening for you, and it's just putting you in the place where you should be for your next best step. And then we're
Yeah.
forever evolving. We need to take the pressure off of that whole having to know everything or be everything, because we are evolving. And as long as we are a few steps ahead of the people we're mentoring, we're
Yeah.
right where we're supposed to be,
Yeah.
right? We go step by step.
Yeah. We do. We do. Laura said, I use my fingers too. Hey, Laura, what was I doing when I doing some kind of,
You were counting the years,
ah, gotcha. Thanks, Kimmy.
hours, not years. That feels like years, right? Hours. You
I'm,
were
th-
counting
I'm
the
three
hours.
years old. All
Yes.
right. All right. Let's get going. Okay. So when I got this song, the Fresh Inspiration song, it is from Orgina Rose. And Orgina Rose is this beautiful flower that really cruises around the world. And last time I talked to her, she was in. Or Gina, if you are here, you're coming through in replay if you catch this, but I believe like in England, and it was beautiful because I spent time with her in Arizona, and she put the song together for me. And it's so basic, but what we talked about having a song that comes from a spirit like that this is her whole life. And I want you to think about this of where you say your yeses and how can it level you up and feel like the song is seeing and hearing what we're doing. So the song is so basic, but the feeling, and I usually don't always listen to words too. Sometimes I'm feeling more of the spirit of the song, and I think it has a nice upbeat song. So this is what Orgina Rose did for us.
Fresh inspiration.
Welcome into the Fresh Inspiration Show. I am here with you, Rhonda Liebig, and we are going to be hosting and playing and bringing in new stars. We got Cami Lehman here. Cami Lehman or Lemon?
Lehman, you got it right the first time.
Cami Lehman, we have here. Welcome in.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting to be here.
And soon we're going to have Kimberly Costi, and Kimberly is just as fun as us three ladies, and we're going to hold the space for you. Today it's about I can, I got it! That's what it is. Right, and I'll be doing the Running Man.
Wait, I'll do the Michael Jackson. I'll do the moonwalk.
No. Okay. Cami, can we hold you to that? By the end of the show, Cami's doing the moonwalk. She's looking around. I was like, no. This is about. Cami's looking around. Hold on, hold space there for a moment. Cami's looking around.
I'm good.
Cami, do you know how to do the moonwalk?
I could do an intoxicated version.
Yeah.
From back in the days.
Okay, anybody else can do the moonwalk? I want you to post here. And then Laura said counting, figuring out the time differences, I think. Oh, I know it's all the same, huh, Laura? Laura, Conklin, Nielsen, Holbrook. Woo-hoo! All right. This is where we get to play. This is where we get to bring the flow with the mind. And sometimes we stop ourselves. When we stop ourselves, what happens? We are not present. And it doesn't feel like we're present. The mind, the fight or flight. Today, we're going to get you out of that. Hang in. Now, this inspiration gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So at first, you may come in and go, well, because maybe it's your first time. I invite you to stay longer, because what happens is you get used to the vibe, because this is not like any kind of show you're going to be in, because this is about creatively whatever happens here, and it can't happen anywhere else but right here. So of course it's going to be unique. How can it not? Because we're going to hold the space for everybody to be authentic, help us all heal. Because we all have healing to do, don't you think so? Like, come on, let's be real about this. The more that we get to see, like in truth, and that doesn't have to be this thing where, oh, I don't have any healing to do. I'm fine. I don't know what you're talking about. It's those other people. Or you come in and you feel so big wounded, and it's been hard to patch it up. Things can be happening. And I want to hold a moment here, just for a moment. 2 days ago, my good friend came to my door and told me that my client passed away last week. And I got confused. And I understood that I even told my client that you may be my first client that passes on unless we move things forward. And so that's what happened. So of course I'm coming in. I got some wounds going on here. But the Fresh Inspiration Show, you can lift up that big old carpet, those muscles, the bicep is like, that's probably the strongest part of your body, because we're always like moving forward. And it's like, you can lift that carpet. You can put all that stuff down there, close it up, seal it up, and say, I'm fine for the day. And you just let it go. You go, man, I'm so strong because I don't feel that. Nobody knows what's going on. And you start feeling this, but it's a different feeling. It's like this feeling of that your feet aren't grounded, but energy comes up and you're like, ooh, and then all of a sudden your day's just hijacked with high energy that's not grounded, and it's hard for you to connect with people, but it looks like you're happy, and I'm like, yes, I am so happy. Hey, I said the Running Man. Cami, I said the Running Man.
I love it.
Cheers. So people are going to want to be with you. You're going to want to be with people if you allow yourself the space to cut those strings that sealed that carpet there and let it open up. Get curious and go, wow, this is how I feel. But we can't put words to it because anything that's big, tell me the Fresh Inspiration Show. I have a window right here and I'm ready to answer anything. When you start feeling that stuff, it gets all buzzy and weird and kind of, well, how do I deal with that? And it's okay. Take the control out of it, allow yourself to be, and things will come and just allow them to come. Now, the scary part here, and I say scary because we are learning to do this, some have more experiences than others. Emotions are going to come in. So throughout the day, I'm going to feel it. I'm going to feel like Susan is right here, my client who passed away. But I still get to be happy because what we are working on here is actually the true feeling and emotion of what joy is. Joy is different. I'm going to take it from a past show star and also a client, Sabina Gorka-Schroed. She didn't create this, but we do talk about this a lot. There's a difference between happiness and joy. Now, this is all about the Fresh Inspiration Show, Mindset Transformation Entertainment. Come on, get your pencils, pens, journal. And I want to give you a download here if you want to take this, you want to print this up too, and you can have the notes where you get to write any notes that you want if you don't have a journal. And if you have a printer available, then just use this form right here. It's very easy. Use that. Now, the difference between happiness and joy. Happiness and joy. And even grounded. There's differences here. When I first came in and I sealed up the carpet and I put everything under there, I can be happy. Like, yeah, you better believe it. Let's go out and let's go to Starbucks. Let's go get some junk food because I feel like it. I don't know why, but I want to numb, but I don't know why. But I do it. But in my mind, I'm having fun. I put everything under the carpet, hanging out with people or hanging out by myself. And this sugary stuff, it just makes me feel so good. Yeah, I'm doing good, man. I am so strong. Now that's happiness. Happiness can affect our body, our brain, because we're in the happiness factor. We're like, yeah, we're not really grounded. We're just saying, what do my taste buds want? What kind of conversations do I want? And it gets us into spaces that don't feel whole. So when we go to bed at night, there can be the fraud syndrome that comes out, or that pain that you tried to push and push and push. And at night, that's the horror that comes through. Wake up at 2 a.m, you go, oh, because you wake up and you're very vulnerable. Joy. Can we, with having the podcast and you're hearing these stories, and of course you get to see the good, the bad, the ugly, and like you get to celebrate, you get to pull the curtain. I got to be part of Cammie's podcast. It's incredible. It's like you're feeling it, you're being so nurtured and floated because you'll understand why her podcast is at the top, because you're very nurtured all the way through the time together about 30 minutes. For you, what kind of stuff do you do when you hear the good and the bad? 'Cause it's like this, ooh, kind of a feeling. You hear a lot of bad stories, and then you hear these really good stories. You have to sit within that 30 minutes. But how do you cleanse and do stuff, or is there special self-care that you do that helps you arrive and feel like, okay, I'm fresh, ready to go again?
Oh, I'm going to be so truthful with you right now. It's exactly what you said about happiness and joy. and I love this. And I have a friend who talks about this all the time, but it's like happiness is fleeing, right? So you go through, you have these conversations and they're high and they're low and you're happy and you're sad and you kind of embrace them, right? And you send love to those people, but we find joy in the moments. Joy is a state of mind. Joy is with us. We're either joyful, we can choose to find joy in the moments. And really that's what we do on the podcast. We go, it's so interesting when I hear someone's story, I hear their whole story. And then I ask them, like, what is the ugly? And I think in my mind, they're going to say one thing, but they say something totally different. And I think, you mean having cancer wasn't the ugliest part of your journey? And they're like, no, it was imposter syndrome. And I think, how is that possible?
Yeah.
So I think that is what it is that, we're holding space for these people, and we have to try not to judge like what that story is and how they're actually processing it, because what we think internally where we are in that moment is, of course this would have to be the worst part. You lost everything. And they're like, no, that wasn't it at all. It was that my, person I trusted turned on me. Like, oh my gosh, right? So it's really so eye-opening, and just gives you this new perspective of unconditional, right? It's almost like an unconditional thing where you can't really make a judgment or a decision based on what they're saying. But I
Yeah.
have to tell you that in every good and bad and ugly, like, it always turns back to the gratefulness and the joy. I spoke to someone yesterday and I said, what would you do different? She said, absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing, because every bit of what I went through has taken me to where I am today, and I wouldn't trade one story for that. So, yeah, so it's easy. It's really easy for me because I don't have to own that. I
Mm.
can just love them where they are,
Yeah.
give them what they need, and together we celebrate the person that they are because of it. So I have been in direct sales for 28 years as a top leader, and it was cosmetics. So I was so nervous. I was always good working one on one with people, but being in a group and having to speak was difficult, which is kind of what you're talking about here as well. And so, the turning red, like all the things. And I was always in the beginning so nervous about having all these people stare at me as I stood there and talked and walked them through like this process. And then it was the funniest thing. I went to that first one and I realized they're not staring at me, they're looking at themselves in the mirror. And it was like that first epiphany. They're like in the mirror. Like, you put a mirror in front of a woman, she is not listening to anything you say. She's looking at her own self, examining every part of her face, her neck, her ears, the whole bit. And it is hysterical. But that was, I think, in the beginning when I realized I need to stop worrying about what other people think, because they're not thinking about me. And I think, as one of the things in life that holds many women up is that, we are afraid of what people are going to think. What if we say the wrong thing, or it doesn't work out well, we try something, it fails, we fall on our face. Guess what, guys? They're not talking about you. They're not thinking about you. And we make all that up in our minds. And there's just so many stories, but that's just one of, like,
That's a good one.
you know, imagine being nervous about standing in front of these women, and now you can't even get their attention because they're like this in their mirror. And it's like, hello, come back to me. And they're like, what about this lipstick? You're like, get me out of here. So that was definitely, it put me in my place, which I thought, this is good early on, get it over with, right?
Yeah, I love this because the thing is, my hubby the other day, I'd say like probably like a year ago, I was going through some big stuff, but I was having these breakthroughs about, like acknowledging things. I'm like, oh man, it's time to pull that, that out and that out. I can see it. It doesn't fit anymore. And he came to me, he said, darn it, you think everything is about you. Like, instead of me like getting triggered and going, what? My 29-year-old when I met him, I said, I know. I know, and I'm trying to like heal that because that's why I'm sick. Like that's what I was talking about my sickness because like now I'm saying I'm not sick. You know, let's fix whatever doesn't feel right, but I'm not sick. And he was like, wait, she's listening to me. It was actually probably one of the pivots in our relationship. So this relationship is incredible. Almost 25 years being together. And the thing is that that's where our healing spot is sometimes we are stuck in our emotion. What was some of the TikTok stuff we talked about? Because this is would be one of those not focusing on our own vulnerability because that's like we start feeling those things and we think that's what we're supposed to do because we feel it and we think our feelings and emotions are truly us. But what it is just, we have these words that we say to ourselves. It's about 60,000 words a day. 80% of those can be negative. I know if you're in the mindset transformation, it's going to be less than the 80% that we say to ourselves because you're going to start breaking through. But out of those words that we say to ourselves and that are negative, it's stuff that's been cycled. And about 90% of those words are actually a cycle. So when you look at that, you're like, here, wait. So these things I'm saying, no wonder why I'm looking at myself. Because whatever happened, whenever that happened, maybe somebody said something or looked at us, or maybe it was some type of like abuse situation. You're like, you're working on clearing that because that's why we want this stuff. So it's like, okay, that's our past, but like moving forward, how do we get to work? How do we get to work through that? Well, that's why we think it's about us. That's what's so beautiful is that when you start looking at that, you don't feel guilty because of us talking about this and saying, here, wait, and it's not that. It's like you get to get curious and you get to bring your come on, get your journal out there, everybody. Get your journal out there and get your pen. And what we're talking about here, this really is transformation because we're going to have buzz stuff like that that's going to get you. And if you don't agree, I want to hear it because let's have great conversation because there is not a debate that's going to end with us fighting. The debate is going to be, hey, how do you feel? Here, this is how I feel. And the years of us being in the industry, and I bet some of you have been out there in the industry for a while, and I want to hear from you because there's sometimes you say inspirers, hashtag inspirers that are watching the show. Sometimes you have stuff to say that I'm not even aware that that's not coming in my sphere. And just because I have the mic doesn't mean you don't either. Flow, freedom, your heart. It doesn't clog up that left shoulder. The hand doesn't get frozen. Vitality, freedom. You get to welcome in, welcome. Receive, oxygen. You get to release. That's a hard one. But vitality is the understanding and learning what that means about receiving and releasing. Releasing is letting go. Allow Mother Earth take in that energy because she's moving and she's going to allow that to release and bring and create energy within you. That spirit, whatever your spiritual journey is, I welcome it in. That's vitality. Getting to know you is one of the essentials in life. When you start looking at what makes you, at first it can feel kind of embarrassing because I said earlier, if you were here, that it's all about you and somebody will come at you and say that. But it is. It's about you so that you can clear. And then it comes in freedom. And that freedom is where your body starts healing. Vitality is about energy. And that word, vitality does come from energy. But in that word, hi, Mom. That's my mom's to take. This is what we happen in a live show. Okay, love you. I made my mom a specialty. That is vitality. And it's not control, because what I could have done right here is just focus and not said beautiful words to my mama, because she's taken off for the day. She was here for a few days. That's vitality. It's looking at your generational stuff that gets you stuck. And when you get stuck, you lose it. You lose the energy, and life becomes something that doesn't feel like that you get to live. When you know that definition about what your definition of living is, that's vitality. So vitality is about living life and learning. And learning. Whatever that is. And sometimes we stop ourselves here. And if we stop ourselves, then things happen. I could be stuck here in my four walls, and it can show up in a different way where I feel every ache and pain in my body, and the energy starts slowing down. So anytime you feel that, give yourself a moment and say, man, I am not feeling good. And get curious about that and notice how your walls are painted. I mean, my walls are white, but I'm not really thinking about like the color. But what's my day painted like? You get this paintbrush, it's almost like skating or on a swing, like you're just like skating and going. If anybody's seen those videos where people are like skating and they're doing this stuff, I'm like, here, wait, I need to go back to skating so I learn how to move like that. Or you feel you're painting inside to clear, or you're painting your walls and you're seeing your emotion. I see orange, I see yellow. And those colors are the sun for me, and the sun is the beginning of the day, and watching and being awake to watch that sunrise. That's vitality. You're creating a morning where you get to say, yes, I got this.
So just remember that you need a balance of being a teacher and being a student, so you can go back and learn and then go back and teach. And it is a constant back and forth where you're learning and stretching and growing, and then you're sharing and empowering other people. But in the land of Suckville, you still have the power to choose. You have the power to choose how you want to feel, what you want your life to look like. I love what Rhonda talked about earlier about happiness and joy. That still is ringing in my head. See, we get weak in the moments and we give up our power. In our weakness, we surrender our power, and that is not good. We need to take on this mantra of I can, I can, I can. And I did that ever since Rhonda shared with me what this theme was. I found myself walking around in every crazy thing that happened saying, I can, I got this, I can do this. And that I can statement is like a muscle. It is a muscle. The more you use it and work it, the stronger it gets. And this is how you can get through some of these things to keep you from being unstoppable, keep you from, getting stopped in your tracks, and push you into that place of being invincible. See, success lies in the 6 inches between your ears. And again, I'm going to remind you that the words you speak are the house you live in. What are you saying to yourself? Ask yourself today, would I say the things that I tell myself? Would I say them to my best friend? Would I say those same things to my children? What on earth am I doing? Why am I doing that to myself? You get stopped because of the words you speak, because of the thoughts you think. And when you start reminding yourself that you can, no matter what it is, like until you prove you can't, you have to believe that you can. There's just no other option. That is like the law of science. You have to either prove you can or prove you can't. And there's the proof and the belief, right? And so I challenge you, if you struggle with that, I want you to try to prove you can't, so that the only belief you can have is that you can. See, you're not powerful enough to stop the world plan for your life. You're not powerful enough to stop the impact that you're here to make. We think we are, but we're not. You see, as long as you woke up this morning, and Rhonda's friend Susan did not, right? She doesn't have that opportunity anymore, but you do. You're here. And as long as you wake up, you have the opportunity to decide you're going to be, you're going to do, and you're going to have whatever it is that you were put here to do. And once you believe you can, you become unstoppable. This whole I can is what makes you unstoppable. When you say, I got this, you're making a promise. This is the action where you say, I got this. I can do this. And this is where you step in. Once you've convinced yourself that you can, then you're making this promise, this commitment. I will. I got this. And that, my friends, is what makes you invincible.
Everyone, the Fresh Inspiration Show, Mindset, Transformation, Entertainment. I'm Rhonda Liebig, your host of the Fresh Inspiration Show. I'm here to hold space for you. This is about feeling the flow, feeling the freedom. Let's go into where Kimberly is going today. First off, Kimberly is lots of fun, so you're going to love on this. Get your water because you're going to be processing so much. Just turn my spacer. I'm already drinking. Cheers, everybody. Great way to process. Get that water in there. Now, Kimberly is a speaker and attraction marketing and mindset coach. Attraction marketing. How do we get attracted to this? Isn't this beautiful? She's going to share that because I do hear people say that they're struggling with marketing. Kimberly's going to play with you. She teaches home-based entrepreneurs that language of social media marketing and shows them how to have fun building their audience. She teaches home-based. Thank you, Dawn. Her clients learn to leverage the social media they're already using to organically and authentically get more leads, create engaging content, and build an audience ready to follow them to the ends of this earth in a totally heart-centered way. Kimberly also helps her clients develop their mindset, their marketing mindset, speaking in front of people, getting visible, and generally putting yourself out there can be tough for a lot of people. She loves to help her clients break their fears and get fast results with her direct, non-judgment approach and by infusing fun. Fun! Oh, look at that. Fun! Okay, Kimberly, you got it, my friend. You got it. Take it off.
And take it away. Hi. Thanks for having me. I'm excited. Didn't Cami look gorgeous today?
Cami always looks gorgeous. We're us three women here. We're just hot. And then Dawn was here for a moment. Dawn, please come back on because
you're going to hair. I want Cami's hair. It's just beautiful. Anyway, that's just a girly side note. Yeah, Kimberly, social media.
I know you're coming in and you're not feeling like 100%. Your body is going through something. My friend, how are you showing up today? And when you're feeling like this, how do you get in your marketing to really get that flow, that juice going?
That's a good question. So one of the simple, easy, kind of maybe even obvious tips that I share with my clients is that when you have ideas, write them down. I have a document. So when I'm not feeling so great, I don't have to think. I just go to the document and I say, this is what we're doing. Or find a way to turn it around, inspire with, like right now, I can hear myself in my head because my left ear has been stuffed up for 3 days and it's really starting to drive me crazy. So that is what I'm going through at the moment. How can I share that with my friends, my audience? How can I make that interesting? I can ask for recommendations on what to do about this ear thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
People love to help. They love to give you their opinion and what's worked for them to share. And that's pretty much all that social media is literally being social.
Mm-hmm.
Saying, hey, who's out there? Who can help me with this problem?
Yeah.
Can receive this information, this inspiration, this whatever I've got to give
Yeah.
on any given day.
I love asking those questions because then we learn from others.
Yeah.
Because then we get to also be an expert because we're saying, hey, the more I ask, the more I get to learn what people are thinking about. And that's part of the marketing. So you're not throwing spaghetti. That's how the organic happens, huh?
Yep.
Hear what people are dealing with.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
And they get to know you and they get to know your life and what you're going through. And when people know you, really know you, then they can't help but love
Yeah. It's
you.
all
They
about
love you,
oh, we're
they buy
saying
from
love.
you.
We're saying love to you today. I know you know so much, and I know that you want to be here for sharing all your love. So I'm going to interview you, and we'll go that way as you already know we're going to do anyway. But I'm telling everybody else.
Mhm.
Tell everybody else.
It's
Kimberly,
quite helpful to me.
what's the new stuff that's going on for you? Is there something happening at the end of this week or the end of this month that you're having some transitions in how you are doing your daily life? Is there anything?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. How interesting. So when somebody is going through something new, I said I glossed over it. Somebody is, and you can talk about that if you want. But if somebody is going through something new and they're trying to figure out how to keep moving forward in their flow with marketing, but there's big things happening in their personal life. How do they smooth that out and not get so much in their head, but find a way to not halt everything? How does that work for marketing?
I, again, it's all about being authentic. What you're going through, what's happening, where you are, literally, geographically, and, you know, perhaps emotionally, or, what's going on in your life. Um, for me, what's happening is a transition away from working to more business. So it's very exciting and it's terrifying.
Mm,
So I'm essentially giving up a steady income to sort of roll the dice and trust the universe and all of that. So it's really stepping into that fear and trust.
yeah.
And just to answer your question, people, a lot of people focus on the negative, and I think when COVID first hit, there was a lot of negativity on social media. It was immediately polarizing and people were just going at each other. But I don't think I did a conscious cleanse or anything, but my social media is all positivity. So what I found is that people love to cheerlead other people. They love to congratulate. They love to know what you're going through so they can lift you up and inspire you and encourage you. And so, just the other day when I did my post about Friday's the last day at my job,
Woo,
oh
woo,
my
you
God,
announced it.
I got a lot of engagement. People are very supportive. I mean, maybe it's just my friends are awesome, but people want to say congratulations. They love to say you're looking beautiful today. They love to say you got this. They love to say you can, you can, you can. So if you're going through something put it out there. And I know a lot of people don't want to put all of their business out there, and it's not about that. It's just about being real. You know, you don't need to go into details. You don't need to, show every piece of your life, but to say, I'm going through something.
I like that. You know, it feels like we're not faking till we make it, but we get to really show who we are so that people, and I think the safety word is kind of tricky to use, but people feel safer when they know that they know you, but then you get to authentically be yourself, so the expertise naturally shows up. I feel like when I started business 12 years ago, it was like you try and pretend, and it was typical to say fake it till you make it.
Right.
And I love what you're speaking about, 'cause you're speaking about the truth that your marketing gets to be flexible and that you can only show up when you're feeling like whatever that is. Well, I'm looking good. I better put on the camera. What about putting on the camera without makeup and really speaking by the heart and not thinking that your physicality, is you and your business. It isn't. And Kimberly, what I learned as a health coach when I gained 60 pounds almost overnight when I was transitioning off of medicine, it was, I love what you're saying. That was the approach that I did, was try to be like in myself, like try to be as authentic as I could be and speak to that and be able to share about like how beautiful our body is, where before I was so much on the exterior and trying to play a game. And so when I took off that medicine, it really opened up something for me. So to me, you feel safe by being in your space and you saying, marketing is about that. Marketing is about being in your authentic space so that you always feel safe. So then you can build your community that really sees you. And there's going to be people that don't want to see you that way. And you go, oh, I'm so glad I know that. Like we're staying in the positivity. Like, I'm so glad I know that, because that means that that person is struggling and having an issue probably with, with their own self, and allow that person to be, but you start getting more attracted and people get more attracted to you, which grows your marketing. And I feel that's a great space. Do you feel like after these past couple years that people are enjoying more authentic marketing than ever before? Is there anything different happening?
Yeah, it's actually a kind of a bigger picture. If you look at coaching and how coaching has sort of come onto the world by storm, which I love, compared to sort of the traditional therapist, which I know it's a bit of apples and oranges, but it's also fruit, if you get my drift. So, so the therapist has always been, you know, don't share about yourself. You're the professional. Client comes in, pours their heart out, and you give them advice or steer them in the right direction, whatever. And so when coaching came out, when coaches started writing books and sharing more about their lives, it was a little bit shocking at first.
Mhm.
And now it's not only, you know, the way it is, but it's really changed marketing as well. Because marketing before the internet was a completely different ball game. It was like, big name, big face. We are the boss at this, and you probably want our product. Yes, we do want your product. And now it's people buying from people knowing people trusting people. Not that we needed to trust the brand before, but there was no face behind the brand. And now each of us is our own brand.
Fresh inspiration. Fresh inspiration. Fresh inspiration. Fresh inspiration.
The Fresh Inspiration Show is about mindset. Mindset is that, like I said earlier, we're known to have about 60,000 words in our head. We're just saying them. We don't hear them all. because we're living with it. 80%, if you're not doing a lot of mindset stuff, on average, is negative. Now that seems logical when you think about how the brain works. Fight, flight, everybody's at me kind of thing, but when you start healing, it's not 80%. Just as the average of the population is 80%. 90% of those words that are negative have been cycled. So you think about all your life and phrases start happening. You're not worthy. Oh my gosh, somebody signed up with your program. You can't do it. And you start feeling that. Sometimes you feel it. You don't hear the words because you've been saying them so much to you. That's the mindset. When you get to have somebody support you in that space, then the transformation happens. The transformation is that you hear those words and they kind of stick you, but you want somebody to be there for you so that someone says, hey, get out there and journal. Get out there and journal. Start hearing those words because you're going to be able to stop yourself like within a couple minutes so you don't dig yourself too deep. Or you will dig yourself deep for a couple days, but there's going to be a gift there. Anyway, whichever way that goes. But you learn to get that 90% that just is cycle. See how that is? So the entertainment part, mindset, transformation, entertainment, you better fucking believe that entertainment is big. You know why? Have you ever watched a really good movie? Have you ever watched a concert, watch a band that's one of your favorite bands? How do you feel? Bum, 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 bum. And you're dancing like, oh my gosh, life is so perfect. And you're with somebody you've been with for 50 years and you're like, I love them even more. Bum, 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 bum. And everybody's on your side because you're listening to music, you're watching a movie, and you're like, this has changed my life. When I walk out of this movie, I'm a changed person. Well, the entertainment's good. But if you don't go back to that first step, mindset, you open up the door. What did we talk about at the early of the day? You go through that threshold, and you're like, God damn, I'm the same person I was. And all the stuff comes and crashes on you, and you're like, and you start living normal again, normal. How about coming along and being part of this where you don't sweep stuff under the rug and you go, all right, well, that crap is happening to me right now. How do I get out of it? How do I get out of it? Mindset. You go, I want joy. So you go back, you read some books, you journal. This is my favorite book, by the way, Grow a New Body. You journal, talk to your coach. Now, transformation happens again. We're doing the process again. And it doesn't get boring because it's new. Because you're now 80% isn't negative. Now you're probably 70% of the words you're saying is negative. And you're starting to break that. And when you start breaking those patterns, that's where you get to do the marketing. The marketing is like, here, wait, I don't feel so bad being out there. When I would go into marketing, I do have some abuse in my background. I bet quite a few of us do. We're like trying to find those gifts. That's how we go like, oh yeah, that happened. Okay, so how do we work through that? All of a sudden, I used to feel like that muck. And I didn't know what that was, but that was like one of my worst days. And so you're going to feel that. You're like, where's that muck? You're just starting to tear yourself up. It's like, let's get you out of there. That's crap that somebody else did to you. Why live with that? And as a coach, you move forward. Never be the coach that sits back there. So you move forward and you find the gifts because you're just out there. And now you're back at the movie. You're like, yeah. Oh my gosh, I love this actor. I love that actor. I want to be like an actor because I want people to move. Well, as a speaker, you kind of are an actor. It's about the words you're saying, or you're a singer. Every word you say is like, and it feels right. And it's like, you're like Pat Benatar. And she's like singing and her vocals are high and you're like, holy moly. And it gets you right here. You get to be that. Now, don't let anybody stop you. So do the cycle again. Be the entertainer. Come back around. Go back into the new mindset. Where is it? Where is anything clogging you? Because you know that the next step, it's going to get you higher in your business. It's going to get you out there in your marketing. You're going to have your podcast. Your vitality is going to be moving. The cash is going to be flowing. That's not the number one. We just talked about 4 things here that's so important. It's about your passion. Why were you waking up this morning? Why are you still in bed? Time to get up, because hopefully we entertained you enough today. Sometimes we need to lay in bed because we need to have that reset. Don't beat yourself up. Get in curiosity so that you know you got this. Anytime you need a rest, you go do it. Because that's the new doing. Go take the rest. So that when you come in, you got your mic and you're ready for your movie, you're ready for your song, you got it. You're not half-ass in. That's my grandma talking, by the way. Half-ass. Huh, my grandma. You get in there, you kick some ass. You're like, I'm myself, and I'm not embarrassed. And I get to play my guitar. Have a fabulous day, ladies, the stars of the show. You did a great job. Woo! Great job. And thank you, the Fresh Inspiration Show. I appreciate the love that you are here in asking the questions. Dodie, Laura, Leslie, Elizabeth. And I saw people coming in and out. Not everybody was, it was saying things, but sometimes I noticed that so many people coming in I didn't know were there. And sometimes you just need that inspiration, and it's just a moment and it helps you through, or your schedule only brought you here for a few minutes. Love you, the Fresh Inspiration Show. Until next time, remember, this is the Fresh Inspiration Show, mindset transformation, entertainment. We got you private here so that you get to be in a group that feels good. So keep creating your vibe and your flow. This is your home for stuff like that. Keep growing with us. I appreciate you so much. Namaste. I love you, which is the love language right here. And I appreciate you. And from my heart to yours, you have an incredible, incredible day. Appreciate you.
Fresh inspiration. Fresh inspiration. Fresh inspiration. Fresh inspiration. Fresh inspiration. Fresh inspiration. Fresh inspiration.